Today, I'm going to be talking about sets, and sets, particularly in game theory. And also, I think this has to do a lot with statistics because statistics is basically game theory. Um, this stuff always confuses me, and throughout my whole journey of learning, I've always skipped this. And most people would say, well, you shouldn't skip it. But actually worked in my favor to skip this and come back to it once I had a little bit more knowledge about, or a knowledge about what this actually is about. Now, this is an extraction from a famous game theory book from, I think, the 1930s or 1940s. But this guy pretty much is the founder of computer logic. So this stuff here is deeply embedded into what you will see as far as AI goes. I use ChatGPT to clarify some of my answers to try to get a better understanding. Um, I will also be going in and looking at other methods, but this matches what is happening here. And this is an older book, so it pretty much matches what's going on. A lot of the newer stuff is based on older stuff, just stuff that's been added to it. But what I really wanted to focus on is just the basics of why they're choosing this kind of model to continuously build on top of. And a lot of this has to do with computation and less to do with actual math, like mathematics humans use, even though we do use this. One of the biggest things that is used in comparing human versus computational math is chess. So this pretty much says that this is the entire playbook. It's big data of every possible move that you can make in a game or every item in an inventory. So that's game theory. So chess is very much equal. Um, da, 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 da. You have an 8x8 grid. All the players have the same pieces. The only thing is white has an advantage by going first, and then black moves afterwards. That is pretty much it. But weights come in with each one of the um, pieces having different ways of moving through the grid. So there we go. And as you move through the process of this game, it reduces how many moves you can make. Because if you take out the queen, you take out, say, a bishop, you left with knights and pawns and a rook, it's going to restrict your movement on the board. But it doesn't mean you're going to lose, but your odds are working against you, especially when you start losing your queen and your bishops. Yeah, but even so, you can't, like, what I was trying to do is trying to compare a computer working a game to a human would work a game. And you really can't, because all the computer doing is just simulating moves. That's it. So this thing where a person can fumble, forget something, not see something on the board, etc., it doesn't come into simulation. It also doesn't it doesn't manifest itself into simulation because it doesn't see anything. It's using a mathematical principle to move along through the board. And to be quite honest with you, it's a very simple way of moving through it. It just has to move through a lot of data, but it's very simple. Before I go into anything else, I also want to talk about probability, and this is the biggest thing that always messes me up, and that is stochastic processes. And hopefully I said that correctly. I looked it up to make sure I pronounced it, but I may be wrong. And it's not to do with any magical way of looking at probability. It's just a different way of measuring it. And it's the connection to geometry. Because in geometry you can measure squares and you can measure something within under a slope, and you can use different shapes to measure it, including like slopes. You can actually use a square way of measuring it. And that's basically what calculus is when it comes to probability. That's the main thing that always gets me. It's like, what is the difference between this continuous and the other version where you're using, steps or squares or whatever else? It's just basically how the geometry process is used in order to actually measure the differences. And it's always the differences of changes. Calculus is literally the study of change. So you can use it to indicate change of a price in a stock, or indicate a change of a price in a trend, and you use that using geometry. Degrees. Just like when she's learning, it's like, oh, okay, great. It's not clear. I don't know why they make it more clear, but that's pretty much what it is in a nutshell. So sets are A is all the winning moves, and B is a specific path to win. And this B can be a lot of different sort of paths to win. So you can imagine a computer storing a memory of different paths to winning. And it can use probably some sort of algorithm or something to see how close it is to winning by using calculus. And that's pretty much all it is. This explanation is like trying to learn music through musical notation. It doesn't work. You actually have to see it. You can see this is like a race car. Like the race car starts here or here, and it can go so many paths to winning. And you can represent this in multi-layers of different race car events. So if he looks back in his past to see which way he actually won this, that's him looking through the different paths of winning. But if he's up against, say, a crazy terrain, a crazy opponent that does like odd things, the rules are not set, the going back in memory is not going to help him. He's going to have to create another way of winning. But if it's the same game over and over again, similar to chess, like a computer game chess, then you could probably apply this. That's pretty much it. And I'll talk to you guys later.